All right, welcome to the 73rd episode of the Revolutionary Code, where we bring the truth about how governmental politics actually works in every facet of human existence and how that affects our people, Black people here in America, Africa, and their diaspora. I'm your host, Brother Tamani Mondani out of Houston, Texas. I am the direct revolutionary product of the Shrines of the Black Madonna. I'm also the founder of the Black Gold Nation movement. My co-host, the chief consultant of the Black Gold Nation's political strategy nationally, Political Strategy and Implementation Department and our Adult Education Division, the chairman of LACE, Liberation Advocates for Community Empowerment, the intellectual gangster, corporate grassroots revolutionary, and master domino assassin from Shreveport, Louisiana, AKA The Boot, Brother Craig B. Lee. Brother Craig, how you doing?
I am doing Irie, and we had a beautiful, beautiful day here in the city of Shreveport, so I am hype and ripe.
All right, I would take that. I would take it. Okay, so really quickly, what we're trying to do in the Black Gold Nation, everything we do is about bringing our people together to find the right people to build something that matters. We understand that we can't build that something that matters if we don't have the right people on board, if we're not involved in the right processes, if we're not using the right strategies. And we most certainly can't build if we don't understand the environment in which we're trying to build. Of course, things that are said and information that's shared, it's illuminating, it's educational, it's exciting, it's eye-opening, it's all that. But we're not here to just give you the information. We're not here to just educate or edutain you. We're really trying to get you, Black person, to do something. We want to inform, educate, motivate, mobilize, organize, and build. Again, every single thing we say and every single thing we do is about bringing our people to find the right people who are ready, willing, and able to do something. Because evil does not take a day off. Our enemies operate and they roll as a group, as a team, because they understand this is a team sport. And we are losing because we don't understand that we have to do something together. Otherwise, it's simply not going to work. So the title of tonight's show is the 360-degree sphere of America's toxic influence and our only hope, an empowered village. The 360-degree sphere of America's toxic influence and our only hope, an empowered village. So we're going to start with three definitions and or descriptions, probably even explanations from Brother Craig, and then we'll get into the toxicity of American society and culture. So Brother Craig, three things: the school to prison pipeline, the cradle to prison pipeline, and the village to prison pipeline. So the first one, what is the school to prison pipeline?
It was a concept that came into fruition over 10 years ago, probably 2 decades ago, that was reflective about a growing trend of African-American youth and Latino youth primarily, but not exclusively, but primarily, who were being sent into the juvenile system, incarceration system from school, because schools had now formed out their discipline to local law enforcement, and they were no longer handling in-house discipline on a large scale. And so on a small scale, yes, but if it was something that they viewed to be problematic, they brought law enforcement in. And so they began, similar to the Black codes that existed after chattel slavery ended, they created public policy initiatives that sought to imprison, have young people violate simple things, where they would now become wards of the state, so to speak. And that's where the title ends up coming from, school to prison pipeline. And that became the foundation for cultivating young people, primarily African Americans and Latino Americans, priming them to get ready for the adult penal system. And so they coined that term for that.
Okay, thank you. Next definition or explanation is the cradle to prison pipeline.
So the cradle to prison pipeline begins at home and now takes into the fractured, unbalanced situation that exists in most of our home environments, because the home front is perceived to be the initiation where the modeling of behavior begins. And so that term now comes in because the cradle, meaning when the child is at home as an infant, that child is now being indoctrinated to now move into the prison environment, because you're going from the cradle to the school system, and your home environment and the school environment is now positioning you to go to prison. And so that some other entities said, okay, well, it doesn't start at school, it starts at the home. And that's where they came up with that concept for cradle to prison pipeline.
And how old would you say the cradle to prison pipeline moniker is?
But less than 2 decades.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, yeah, that was I didn't think that one was. Is that older? No, that has to be younger than the prison, right?
I didn't see. I didn't remember when Jalen and I were doing his project 5 years ago. I didn't see when they created, whoever created that concept. But I would believe that it is younger than the school to prison pipeline.
Okay. And lastly, the village to prison pipeline, which is a frightening concept. Village to prison pipeline.
So this is my intellectual property creation. After analyzing both of those concepts, school to prison pipeline, cradle to prison pipeline, and now doing everything that I'm doing with Dads on Duty, and how we are now preparing to move into phase 2 of the work that we are doing to reduce and eradicate youth and violence here in Shreveport, Caddo, and other school districts throughout the country. I looked at it and I'm like, this is the actual mechanism of where it's at, because I'm always interested in looking at the foundation, what actually starts, or the root cause. And the root cause goes back to the village. Our village, because of chattel slavery, because of Jim Crow segregation, because of pseudo integration, our village is broken, it's fractured, it's unleveled. And because our village is broken, fractured, unleveled, and damn near non-existent, the family dynamic, which gets its modeling, or supposed to get its modeling from the village, because that's the cultural construct for family, the families are not able to tap in and get that cultural identity. And so because that exists, now you have the situation that begins in the home front, i.e. cradle to prison pipeline. Then you progress to the school to prison pipeline. But when we look at the village to prison pipeline, I said, well, what is the first, in order to go to a physical prison, how do you get there? And you get there because you're in prison of your own mind.
Right.
You're in that prison, and the only entity who can actually help you do this is if you now have an empowered village. That means a collective of individuals like yourself, Brother Naru, myself, and other people who participate in our weekly calls and are putting in the work. Because if you don't have an empowered village, you're not going to be able to empower our children. And it's like every day. And, you know, I'm sending you examples of this every day. And just today, 17-year-old star basketball player, Huntington High School here in the city of Shreveport, which is the school that sits right in front of my mother's apartment where she lives in West Shreveport. Star basketball player who lives in my neighborhood that I grew up in, Queensboro, was murdered right in front of his mother today. Shot 4 or 5 times in his back by another 17-year-old over some foolishness, and now he's up out of here. And so, and disturbingly enough, as I conclude this response, the brother Jatavian Blake, who is up from Florida, I just went and purchased them some food, had to get them some great food from Orlando's. And one of my childhood partners, I was describing some of the stuff that we're doing with Dad's on duty. And this was his response. He said, man, why y'all wasting y'all time? You can't do nothing about that.
Wow.
And I just, and you know, I knew not to really engage him because this is the individualism. This is the I me. And so we talked, chit chat about a few other things. So he got his food and he left out. And as I got my food for Brother G and left out, his car was parked next to my van. And I said, Brother D, there was a lady in Queensboro named Miss Bobby Henderson. Without her and other phenomenal individuals in Queensboro, like Mr. Cleveland White, my band director at Fair Park, Mr. Malcolm Spencer, my band director at Lakeshore Junior High School, my coaches, other people who poured into us. I said, brother, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And I could go back to the side and name those people. I say, brother, although what you're saying is true, that, you know, a lot of these parents are totally screwed up. You know, part of the main reason why these children are so messed up, although that's true, I say, brother, we can't neglect, but that's a statement that's coming from somebody who is operating as an individual and not as a part of the collective whole of the village.
Right, for sure. And that's sad. It's sad that so many of our people feel like there's no hope. There's no point in even trying. It's never going to work. So we give up without even starting because we have zero belief in ourselves. And of course, you can't. And of course, I wouldn't be surprised if he said he believed in God and go to church. You can't believe in a higher power and say there's no hope.
You know, some of the statements that I make, I know, you know, when you first met me, probably sound kind of shocking. Now you start to really understand my logic when I say we need to put these Negroes back on the goddamn plantation. Yeah. Now you understand what I say when I say most of these Negroes do not deserve freedom.
Yep.
They don't. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Somebody makes a statement like that. You ain't never ever worked for any right that you have. Not one.
Yeah.
Not one.
Yes, sir.
You've never put in any work for your right.
Yeah.
Which goes back to my speech this past Sunday when I talked about the history makers versus the sideline spectators, procrastinators, clout chasers,
all that,
and the goddamn evil evil commentators.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing all of this, but you ain't put no work in for your own freedom. Yet you want to create the illusion, because what he's saying is he's telling the truth, but he's lying as well, because he wants me to believe that the reason that he ain't doing nothing is because it ain't going to help. You know, it's useless waste of time. But the real reason is you just a lazy motherfucker.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
That's the real goddamn reason that you're doing this, and we play these games as if, you know, this is real. But now you'll see the, oh, that's bad. All we got to do is we got to come together. All we got to love. And I love my favorite. I don't want this to happen to no more children, no more mamas, no more daddies. But what work are you going to do?
What work are you going to do? Right. And by your not doing the work or any work, you are ensuring that it's going to continue. Because it's not going to stop just because you wanted to, or because you said 10 prayers or whatever. All right. Next question. So, Brother Craig, you have stated, quote, a fractured, unlevel village foundation allows for children to become negatively influenced and infected by toxic programming. What do you mean by fractured, unlevel village foundation?
So I equate the village to the metaphor of constructing a residence or, you know, commercial residential structure. So if you're now going in to reconstruct something, whether it's on a slab or a pier and beam, before you can deal with the walls, before you can deal with the roof, you have to analyze the foundation.
That's right.
And if the foundation is cracked, if it is fractured, if it's unlevel, you now have to deal with how to level that, how to repair it before you start to deal with the walls, the damn sheetrock, putting in flooring, heaven forbid, the damn roof. Because if you attempt to not secure, level this structure, the foundation, before you continue to restore, repair, reconstruct the structure, you're now setting yourself up for failure.
Yep.
So I equate that to the same way, because we're building or attempting to build humans, because they've been broken, they've been fractured.
That's right.
As individuals, and because the village is fractured, the family is fractured. And because the family is fractured, the children are fractured, hence humanity is doomed.
Yeah.
And unless we, those of us who have broken free and now gain control of our minds and our spirits, unless we mobilize, organize, and now learn how to leverage money, status, and materialism in a capitalistic system, I mean, humanity is doomed.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you go on to list the different kinds of toxic programming, and we most certainly want to get into those because each one of them are spot on. As a reminder, the show's title is the 360-degree sphere, which is everything that surrounds our existence of America's toxic influence and our only hope, an empowered village. So last week we stated that every aspect of American society is toxic. And before we break down the different aspects of this toxicity, let's define and or explain what you mean by toxic.
That which is unhealthy for your your mind, your physical person, your body, that which brings death, is anti-life, that which is poisonous to your system, your mind, your physical body, that which you need to eradicate if you want to live. That's what toxic is.
All right. Okay. So the first toxic aspect of American society and culture is the family unit. So how is our family programming toxic?
Because since the village is fractured, broken, unlevel, and is not operating within the 6 pillars of empowerment, spiritually, culturally, educationally, economically, socially, and politically. Now the family, they're going to get their programming from somewhere. If it's not coming from the village, from a righteous standpoint,
right,
they're going to get it from an unrighteous standpoint. So where do we now get the unrighteous, toxic programming that messes families up? From the television.
That's right.
Now, if we just analyze this, because all of this is done through entertainment, if we go back to the television programs on TV that dealt with family, go back and look at those programs from the 70s, 80s to now. Two totally, completely different situations.
Completely different, yeah.
Because you could even go back to the most non-progressive Black family show of all time at that time, which was Good Times.
Good Times, right.
Okay. And even within the non-progression of Thelma, James, JJ, Michael, and what's the mama?
Florida.
You can go back to then and you still have a family unit that was about staying together.
Yeah, by family. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even parents never did get out the goddamn projects. Every time they tried to get out.
But they got out eventually.
Oh, they never get out.
They moved, remember? He got a contract.
Remember, he broke his knee, and then the contract was gone. Because he was supposed to be playing with Chicago Bears.
Yeah, but it ends with him getting another shot at I think playing for the Bears again.
Yeah, but you gotta know.
His ACL had healed.
The whole focus was always having hope.
Oh, sure.
They were having hope, but they were broke.
Yeah.
But still, it was the family unit.
Yeah.
Show me how you do that with Madea and all this other foolishness that goes on with programming at this stage in the ballgame. We had the Cosby Show. We had the Jefferson. Think about George Jefferson. Okay, George Jefferson, business owner. We had shows. That's My Mama. Okay, you had legitimate shows that were reflective of the type of parenting that was going on in Black America.
Sure.
Okay, but today,
the only one I can think of today is Blackish.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's the only one I can think of.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so now the family has to get their programming straight up from the television versus the village. And now that everything is so individualized, the children are just doing their own thing and getting their information from social media. Parents are allowing them to, it's like the wild, wild west. They're able to tap into sex, violence, everything on social media.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's shocking, when we watched that video yesterday of the young brother and the one in Pampers holding him up, I'm assuming it was his brother, like you said, the parents make this music available to their children. And of course the children gonna copy and emulate what they see the parents do.
Yeah.
which is absolutely crazy. It's insane that you allow a child to be around such behavior and lyrics. It's crazy. Okay.
But again, without spirituality.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. And again, right, coach, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. And that goes to the next question, brother, Craig, which is right on point. How, this might be a long one, but how is music and music video entertainment programming, how is that toxic?
So part of the research, like everything that's in that outline, I'm going to do research in. And so we're going to get into, as our partnership with the National Association of Black Psychologists and National Association of Black Social Workers and this other Black psychologist group, we're going to deal with how the brain processes information, how the mind works. And music is such a powerful tool that can be used for good or bad.
That's right.
It is an international language in terms of the beat, the melodies, the musical vibrations. There is no Japanese A note or B note. All of these things you can play them by ear, whether you understand notes or not. And so music permeates, and Naru knows this, music permeates the mind, the brain, the body completely. And so if you can get people to move it, their bodies with beats and musical arrangement, now when you throw in the subliminal messages through the lyric, and now we go one step further with the technology, they now put the earphone in their ears or the headphone over their ears.
Yeah.
And now the vibrations cannot travel in the air. They're circulating completely through the mind and the brain and the body completely. And you're programming yourself 100. And don't let it be an artist that quote unquote tap into something that you're going through. You're gonna listen to that song and look, and Naru can even speak to this, Tamani. Let me ask you this question. Why do you think, I want you to think about this now, these so-called mumble rappers, why do you think there's such a focus on mumble rap? Why do you think that is?
Because somebody understands the importance of language.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah,
but from what aspect though? That's true, but from what aspect?
I'm going to say either. Not wanting people to communicate with one another properly, or the dumbing down of people and not properly educating them to communicate effectively at all. So those would be my two guesses.
And look how gangster these people are.
Oh, it's strategic.
They encourage the mumble rapper because you're gonna have to listen to the music more. You're gonna have to listen to the songs more.
To understand what they're saying?
Exactly. To decipher.
I can't stand it, man. I can't stand it.
Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah, you really got to tune in and pay attention to understand what they're saying.
So you got to play this over
and over and over again.
And over.
And it's seeping in, programming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. And while you're sleeping, and a lot of the music are like it's like nursery rhyme. I mean, there's a reason when Jay-Z came out with the song, "It's the heart of life." I ever feeling just like. They want you to embrace this like nursery rhyme.
Yeah.
So that you are embracing it 24/7, 365.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's profound. The music, and that's entertainment, which most people believe is harmless because they've never studied the term. But now once you know that this concept is entering the mind to distract you from the things that you need to be focused on, okay? And now you're being programmed with all of this toxic negativity that's coming from a large percentage of hip hop. And fortunately, we have people like Naru, Dr. Dre, the large DJ Dr. Dre, and the brother who helped to get the Dr. Dre, famous Dr. Dre of NWA started, Alonzo Williams. Their people reached out to me, and they're going to be interviewing me coming up. And so it's great to have people like Naru, Alonzo Williams, Chuck D, the heavy Dr. Dre, who are old school pioneers trying to bridge this divide between legitimate rap music and this filth, this pervasive filth that exists out here. Because brother, I mean, it got these Negroes. It got them.
Without a complete separation and the creation of a closed loop, a closed in society, how can you effectively counter the toxicity of the music? How is that possible without completely removing and creating a bubble?
You really can't. You just gotta. A large part of this, Tamani, is really just going to be the righteous people doing the work, and some of this we ain't gonna be able to promote.
That's right.
Because folks gonna have to disappear.
Yeah.
The other part of this is gonna come straight up from the Creator, because we so deep into this negativity, brother. I mean, but we can't get jaded like my classmate tonight.
Sure. Yeah.
We can't ever get jaded like that and just like, I'm just focusing on myself and deal with everybody else. And so, but I get it. But yeah, so there are going to be some things that's emergency things that's going to have to be done once we build our weight up.
Yeah, and it's also, we talk about the importance of spirituality. We have to understand that, as you have said several times before, this fight is on multiple levels and in different spheres of existence. Have you by any chance ever heard of the 100th monkey theory?
No, the 100th monkey, I haven't heard.
The 100th monkey, it was I'm not sure it was a science project, but they were definitely studying these monkeys where one monkey was given a potato and it had dirt on it, and the monkey took the potato to the water, to the river, the creek, whatever it was, and washed it off. And so he wouldn't eat the dirt, ate the potato. And he showed other monkeys how to do it so that they would eat a clean potato, not a dirty potato. And over time, the monkeys didn't have to be shown. They just knew because so many other monkeys had done it. The idea is that if certain behavior is a part of the culture and or energy field, at some point, it'll just be picked up by other people or other beings that exist in that energy field, and they just do and operate. Exactly. So I think that's why we absolutely must have a higher level of spiritual understanding, because like you say, which is most certainly true, this is not all a physical battle. Some of this stuff that we're gonna have to do is unseen, and we might not fully understand how it's going to happen.
Exactly.
It just has to happen. But of course, it'll never happen if we're not tapping into that spirituality.
Exactly.
All right. Next one, brother. So how is video game entertainment programming toxic?
So this here, brother.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, so you got your toxic rap music and the videos, kill, 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 money, status, hoes.
Sex, money, and murder. Yes, sir.
I just learned today their new slogan in terms of the retribution, body for body. That's their slogan.
Yeah.
So
now is that anybody for a body, or is that just a black body for a body?
No, you know it's gonna be a big
yeah, I know.
It's gonna be when your gang impacts us, we gonna impact you. And it could be your mama, whoever, somebody's gonna get it.
Yeah.
And we're gonna keep on killing till we get the one who we targeting.
Yeah.
So you already got that going. And now you introduce the other images that now desensitize them to killing. I mean, you've been in the military. Goddamn, these are trained.
Yeah, it is. A lot of it is, yeah. When you look at some of the level of detail in some of these games, it is actually training. It is.
Yeah, these are training ops.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so, needless to say, this is now they're playing these goddamn. I remember my stepson lived with me for those few months, and he's playing this goddamn game, Fortnite. And his ass would stay on this damn game.
Yes, sir.
For I'm talking about 5, 6, 7 hours straight.
Right. If you let him, he sit there.
And now, and it's so interesting, and I can't be mad at them per se, because that's their job to destroy us, because we're their competition. But it hit me as the creator has blessed me to create my vision for the World Championship of Dominoes competition. How you put money behind dominoes. This is something that the creator gave me back in 1994, and start to make professional players out of this. Fast forward to the goddamn video.
Yeah.
They've done.
Yeah.
But not just for like video games macro. You got professional Fortnite players.
Yes, right.
With money behind it.
Brother, it's an industry.
Professional, exactly.
Yeah. And they get paid well for playing these games.
Now, so who's supposed to come up with the solutions to counter this negativity, but they're not even thinking about it because they were not created for that reason? What institution is supposed to create these solutions?
HBCUs?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they don't know what the hell to do.
Right.
So we're going to lead the goddamn way.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do through, i.e. the art, because they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But we got brilliant HBCU scientists, MS technology folks. We got current brilliant students in these technology fields, graphic design, whoop to whoop. And we got faculty and staff. But guess what we don't have? No mobilization, organization, activation of these individuals, and they're not operating within a sphere or a group setting to solve the issue.
Right. Yeah, and that is why we were talking about this in our group meeting earlier. That is why having a strong group that understands we have to develop a system that we can control, a system whereby we have influence over what happens in that space. Because if we can do that, we can create the kind of games that are going to push back against the negative games that are being put out. It's like you said before, everything, there has to be a counter. There has to be a revolutionary, edutaining counter to all the negative, toxic entertainment. And we got to go head to head. And again, somebody got to create that.
and those who are the visionary have to be the ones to do it. And that I have truly learned, being a corporate grassroots revolutionary, a visionary, man, I have to bite my tongue when I listen to slaves talk to me about what can't happen. And it's like, oh, let them slide. They're slaves. Let them slide. They're slaves. Let them slide. And I've done much better over the years. I have, because I know this is going to work, because the Creator didn't lead me to leave corporate America and let these retarded ass Negroes govern me in terms of this thing. But this is what we have to do. And finally, a sister, to your point about, creating these things at HBCUs, the sister who teaches entrepreneurship in Dallas, Texas, told me just earlier tonight, she said, well, Craig, you don't have to replicate that. They already have programs, curriculum in place for, because I don't have an issue with it being done at a high school, but at a college where we got to do this for real, we will do it ourselves. We create our own curriculum so that we can harness all ideas. And so I say, sister, no, you don't, no, we would never do that. Because now you got to understand the white organization you're talking about that now creates these competitive entrepreneurial situations. They are scouting for ideas.
For sure. Yeah, and employees.
And I'm like, come on, man. We got to stop being so goddamn naive. Sister, this is war. Get it. So the little money that they kick out for these little, like, 10,000, we'll help you. And like, she was so naive, she believed that. She said, I'm so proud of Serena Williams, because Serena Williams have created a fund to help our struggling Black business. And she will help. I'm like,
I wish I could. I wish I could remember that. A poem that the founder of the Shrine wrote, and talking about how the nature of change evades us. We have no idea how to strike out against this thing, because we don't even understand it, and to strike out has been a fruitless effort. So amen. But I agree. Okay, so if you missed the beginning of the show, you're watching the Revolutionary Code, where we bring the truth about how government of politics actually works in every facet of human existence and how that affects our people, Black people here in America. This tonight's show is our 73rd episode, and the title is The 360-Degree Sphere of Influence of America's Toxic Influence, and Our Only Hope, an Empowered Village. My name is Tamani Mwandani. I'm the founder of the Black Gold Nation, and Brother Craig B. Lee is the co-host. He's the chief consultant of our political strategy and implementation department, as well as our adult education division. Okay, Brother Craig, next question. How is peer pressure programming toxic?
So you have, peer pressure has always been major, regardless of what decade, generation, but now it's even worse. So you could be raising your child in a pretty decent way, but now they have to encounter all these other goddamn tools. And it's real. That peer pressure is real. Young guy, this is the best I can describe it. Young guy last week got his ass whooped at Southwood, and he was bleeding. And the dude who beat him up, he was not the aggressor. So that guy who got beat up and was bleeding, his little gang members congregated by the door of the office, and we rushed them to class. So I went in the nursing room while the guy was there waiting for care, and I said, man, how did this fight start? Oh, well, last week when my friends was fighting, he was there looking, and today he saw me, and I asked him what he was looking at. And he said, you. And he said, what you want to do? And I ain't no punk. So I fought. Man, I couldn't even respond, man. I couldn't even. So I said, let me walk out this goddamn door, man, before I choke your little ass. Up here talking about you ain't no punk. And they had the audacity to look at the dude while he was sitting in the chair, and he coming in bleed there. And so the dude, to put them bees on him, and so he looking mean mugging. And he said something slick to him, and the brother simply said, "But you leaking though." I said, "Oh Lord,
yeah,
it's gonna be a killing."
Yeah.
So
you know it's gonna escalate from there.
He was trying, to impress his peer group, and so we see it every day. So the toxicity, these other individuals who have probably more so-called swag, more popularity, they're looking at the same, coming from fractured homes, the fractured village. They're listening to the toxic hip hop rap. They're playing the toxic video games, and now they come and wield their sphere of influence over these other followers.
That's right. Okay, social media entertainment.
Trash. Right now, there's a trend going on throughout the country. These children are bringing BB guns, pellet guns, to the school that look like real guns. Where do they get it from? Social media. From who? T.I.'s son and Lil Boosie's son. They having paintball wars, talking like they real gangbang. And it's funny to them.
Yeah.
And all of these children, see, the idle mind is what?
That was workshop.
So you got this idle mind that's coming from a fractured, unleveled family environment that does not get its programming, righteous programming from the village, because the village is fractured, unleveled, broken. And so now you got this unconscious mind because it lacks spirituality, organic right culture, education. So now it's open to receiving all mess. And so this goddamn social media is just mess.
Yeah. And it's continuous. It's continuous. I mean, it is everywhere. Yeah.
And I'm talking about the same things that you and I, the parents don't even have enough sense to put any kind of parental controls on the damn phone.
Right.
And they paying for the damn phone. Just retarded. That's retarded. But I ain't gonna treat my children the way my mama and them treat me. I'm gonna love them, and I'm gonna hug them, and I'm gonna kiss them, and I'm gonna be nice to them. I'm gonna be friends with them. How is that working for you?
Yeah. Okay, television and film entertainment. How's that programming toxic to us?
It goes hand in hand with the social. It's just the traditional component of getting your messages. So now you got homosexuality on TV shows. You got murder, mayhem on TV shows. Man, when you sit back and look at goddamn Power, man, you got now Power 2, the Ghost Book, Power goddamn 3, Canaan, and then Power 4, goddamn Tommy got a damn show.
Oh, wow, really?
Bro, they got so many. I'm looking at, bro, as a researcher, it blows my damn mind because I'm looking and I'm saying, wait the hell a minute now.
That's a lot of spinoffs.
How in the hell, how do y'all make all these damn shows? I mean, bro, they got series, and we ain't talking about just one, like, film. They got series. I'm like, thousands. Netflix got thousands. So, to money, if you just thought about this, go beyond the traditional economic to money. Just look at all the goddamn series that Netflix has out.
Yeah.
The money ain't no goddamn way they got regular money
Right.
to fund all of these projects. It's impossible, bro.
Yeah.
It's impossible. You got 1 million goddamn shows. And that's just on Netflix.
Right.
You got other platforms.
Yeah.
Apple got a platform.
Yep.
HBO got shows. Showtime got. Where in the hell do you all get the money? But it's all there.
Yeah.
And people are tapping into that regular TV with the bullshit like hip hop, love and hip hop and Atlanta Housewives. And so it's just toxicity floating all over.
Yep. Yep. And all of it is a distraction. All of it is a woman in the red dress. And what's interesting is that there are, which of course we know this because we do it every other Saturday, there are gems and nuggets in the programming if you know what to look for and you know what to watch. But of course, most of our people only watch the things for entertainment value. Okay, exactly. We got 3 more. Print media entertainment. How is that programming toxic to us?
So now you got to see the physical images of the fashion. So you got to see that not only in the video, but you got to see the still images so that they can really dissect the images. So now XL magazines, all of your magazines, I think Essence Art Ebony just put homosexual couple on the front of their.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
You see what I'm saying? So they're gonna hit you. They're gonna hit you with the social media, the traditional media, the print media. They're gonna hit you with all of it, and it all reinforces the negative messages that they want to promote.
Right. Print media entertainment. How's that programming toxic? I'm sorry. Drugs and food and beverage programming. How's that toxic?
So you already got the drugs that's already toxic. And so the children, the whole hype, marijuana, everybody. It's the craziest things, like everybody. I just saw some goddamn nuns growing marijuana.
Really?
Yeah, bro. It's all a big setup, bro. I mean, it's like, God, dude, do you know, I haven't seen this kind of promotion of liquor. Like, there's such a promotion of marijuana. It's crazy. And so the children are coming to school with these vape devices.
Yeah.
And so it's just, you're coming to school to get high, to become a slave, because the 13th Amendment is going to re-enslave you. Yeah. So we know that's going on.
So you think that's a setup?
All of that's a setup, man.
Yeah.
Alcohol is legal, but if you're drinking and driving, what happens?
DUI, you go to jail.
All right, so even when they legalize marijuana, don't you see what's about to happen? These Negroes are smoking marijuana in the car.
Yeah. The
same concept of intoxication goes for that. You see? So, and then the 2 biggest distractions at any high school and possibly junior high school is that goddamn cell phone and those damn snack machines. All unhealthy eating for the children. I mean, they're consuming sodas and chips every day. And here's what's so crazy about that. You got this store called Sam's. And even if you don't want to pay a membership to be in a store to shop at Sam's, you got Walmart, you got Target, where you can go buy the damn chips and sodas in large quantity.
Right.
But these children are coming to school spending $5, $10 a day.
On snacks? On the vending machine stuff? Gee whiz.
Now, when I went to school in the 80s, only people who could use a vending machine was teachers and administrators.
Yeah, we have vending machines in school for sure. Yeah.
So why is that going on? Because the corporations want to make money off of the children. And I had a conversation today with Dr. Pendleton. We're going to get into the economics of that, because all that is a hustle. Because guess what I found out, Brother Money? They're selling the damn Coke is the contract. They're selling the products to the schools at a retail price.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're giving them a kickback. So Dr. Pendleton said today, but Craig, we get $6,000 back at the end of the year. Doc, they mess it over you.
Yeah, really.
But her call, it's the call on the school board. But when you got people who don't know corporate business, who's the superintendent and the school board members, guess what? The corporation just makes money on it.
Yeah, all they see is a rebate. Wow. Okay. And lastly, and this is probably the biggest one. I don't know, maybe next to the family, this might be the biggest one, but the last one, religious entertainment programming. How is that toxic to our people?
Because through religious entertainment programming, the children see the hypocrisy of religiosity.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, it leaves them completely void of any kind of ethical or moral training.
Right.
And we got to have that component in order to stem the tides of all of the toxic influences that's indoctrinating them. So the pastor really, until like I laid it out for the pastors who are going to be working with us, I'm like, look, when we allow you to come and roll with us for Dad's on duty, we don't want you to be bringing the goddamn Bible to the school.
Mm-hmm.
We want to bring your activity, your actions, your positive vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So when you build relationships with them, and we now get into the second phase of this thing, which is the programming. Now, outside of the school, we got institutions that we can use. Dr. Jones and I are working with Reverend Pastor Bruce Carroll at Antioch Shady Grove Baptist Churches. And that's what I told Pastor Carroll this past Sunday, Tyra, in terms of how I want them to get involved. I say, but Pastor, y'all want the children to come to you. You got to go to the damn children. And just be positive. Come roll with us. Do something. Get your ass involved.
Yeah.
Then we get them to the damn church on some legitimate programming.
That's
but
right.
not to convert them to no damn Jesus.
Okay, so from the family to the music videos, to the video games, to peer pressure, to social media, to television and film, to print media, to drugs and food and beverage, and lastly to the religion. Seemingly, I don't think we've missed any. Seemingly every aspect of American life is toxic. Every aspect of American life is detrimental to our development and our forward progress as a people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only reason somebody may say, well, Craig, you didn't mention fashion, the toxicity of fashion, because it's inside of the goddamn hip hop. It's right. Inside of the video.
Yeah.
Everything is included in those 11 things.
That's right.
And unless those of us who are broken free establish empowerment villages, empowered villages, hence the whole concept of the Ujima Empowerment Village, because it takes collective work and responsibility to do that. And then unless we embrace the concept of Ubuntu, I am because we are, okay? Unless we embrace Ujima and Ubuntu and establish these physical villages in all of these majority African-American cities and bring in HBCUs to become the solution mechanism to produce the empowerment concept, it's over.
Yeah, yeah, and you have to have the principles of Kwanzaa lived every day You got to have programs, you got to have tenets, you got to have systems. The culture has to be anti the slave or the subculture. If you're not working as aggressively, and if you're not as focused, and if you're not as motivated to create your own culture that has an anti perspective to it as it relates to the dominant slave culture, then it's checkmate. It's checkmate. And of course, you can't do that if you don't have the right people on board. And
Exactly.
and unfortunately for us, man, our people want centuries old problems to be over in a few months. And if it takes too long, then they're gonna quit and be like, your thing taking too long. And you're like, well, look, man, we didn't get this way last night. It didn't happen in a day, so the solution ain't gonna happen in a day. So, but anyway, all that is a part of the process. So, Brother Craig, you get one takeaway based on everything we've discussed tonight to make sure that everybody who's watching now, who watched the recording, will have with them for the rest of their lives. So, what would that one takeaway be?
It takes an empowered village to empower our children. And we have to be dedicated to establishing Ujima empowerment villages throughout various spaces that we control, and even those that we do not control, where we may just be a numerical minority.
Mm-hmm.
Even in those places like Houston, Dallas, Oakland, where we're not the majority, there are phenomenal communities, neighborhoods. Naru sent me a video today of some of the things that they're doing inside of their communities in Oakland, reflecting the history of grassroots advocacy through art. And it was beautiful. So we have to create Ujima empowerment villages, and we have to embrace the concept of Ubuntu. I am because we are. And when we do this and we work on a 24/7 basis, we can now start to make some things happen positively for our people.
Yeah. And anything is possible if we believe it is. If you have the right group of people who believe that they can make this kind of community a reality, then it's wide open. And having lived in a community that was trying to do this very thing, I know what's possible. I know what can happen if everybody's not on the same righteous path. And I know the importance of everybody being able and willing to hold one another accountable, because if you don't do that, then of course it's simply not going to work. So on that note, that ends tonight's show. We're going to open this thing up for questions and answers. So Brother Naru has turned his camera on, so it's Q&A time. Brother Naru.
Peace. Tamani, I sent you the same video that I sent to Craig too.
Okay.
I think through Messenger. What he's referring to is that we had abandoned buildings, or buildings that were, let's say, businesses that went out of business during COVID. They were all boarded up. So a lot of the artists got together. We got funding. Some of the artists were people that I fiscally sponsor, and they took people from our community and they made these beautiful glass planes, and they imposed images on them, and they're all in our downtown area now.
Okay.
Now, granted, we're still being gentrified out here and then closing our schools.
Sure.
But it gives hope to our children when they walk down and they see themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't see the link, so please send it again, because I would love to see it.
Oh, I thought I sent it to you in Messenger. Yeah. Okay.
I don't see it.
Again.
Okay.
But
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I just wanted to touch on that. I like to big up Oakland. We're doing a lot of good things out here, but by no means is it to say that we have arrived and we have solved all the problems, because that definitely is not the case.
We free.
We just have a history of pushing back, and
that's right.
And that history matters, brother, because a lot of communities don't have that. Yeah, at least you got a starting point and a track record.
Yeah. Right. So
that matters a great deal, man.
Always proud of Oakland. Yeah, so thinking about what you were speaking on tonight, Craig, I just wanted to ask a question. Like, do you know of any civilization in the history of our humankind that has not had some type of a ruling class and some type of an underclass? And if not, when we're doing what we're doing, how do we determine who we're going to have as someone who's underneath other people? Because that seems to be an issue for a lot of people. They don't want to be in the underclass. So are we going to determine it by work? Are we going to turn it by brains? Are we going to turn it by finances? Like, what do you think is the best way to determine that? Because we know that there always is some type of underclass.
Exactly, and that's a great question. No, I'm not aware of, and I always go back to the continent because we started this whole thing. Probably in unrecorded history, I'm almost certain that when this thing first started, before tribalism overtook the world, there had to be some kind of unified, equitable, objective way of running our society. But that gave way to those individuals who, as I said and thought about this, how did this start? I said, I get it, because there are some of us who are just predestined to think on high levels. You go back to the continent and you say, okay, if you're thinking about how I can best improve water delivery or sanitation in my village, and everybody else that's running around butt naked and giggling and, happy-go-lucky all the goddamn time. But when it comes to the daily chores, I got to do the same damn chores that you got to do. See, I can see how the intellectual person who looked like us started saying, you know what, we got to figure a damn way out so we can just be sitting and thinking and creating and let their ass do the actual work, because they don't want to sit, think, and learn any damn way. I'm telling you, I pretty much can attest that that's how this thing happened. But with that being said, it has evolved into a class deal where the entities who will always be on the bottom until we change this are the grassroots people, regardless of whatever ethnic group you're talking about. I don't care if it's Irish, Scottish, those who are grassroots, their ass is going to be on the bottom because they're not dedicated to learning, and they're not dedicated to sacrificing to bring forth a new paradigm like the evil people of their ethnicity are dedicated. And so those of us, that's why I'm always pushing the concept of the grassroots hybrid. Those of us who are the grassroots hybrid, we're the ones who have to bring forth that new agenda for grassroots people to be in the mix. But the way that we're going to do this is based on equity and righteousness and truth, and establish a truly objective and positive system that supposedly, the term what democracy is supposedly based on, which of course we know it really isn't. It's a facade, but that's really what we would have to be able to do. And yeah, it's damn sure going to be based on work, merit, things of that nature. It's just the bottom line. But we have compassion for those individuals who are not as skilled. It pretty much goes back to the movie that we did, Divergent, where you can see those factions that were created. And the reason that they were afraid of the faction that I'm talking about, which is the melanated grassroots Black person, the reason that they were always afraid of that hybrid is because the hybrid understood all of the factions. They had courage. They also were humble. They were also intelligent. And so that messed the game up, because the leadership wanted everybody to just be in their faction. And I would suggest for everybody, if you haven't seen Divergent or Insurgent, that Divergent series, go look at that, because that's really what we're talking about. And so that's how I would see it, but it would really be based on a straight up equity type situation, a board that is really phenomenal, and you know, not have anything to do with class. But it's a lot of people, Naru, like with me, most people would believe, like I'm one of the top 5 most recognizable people in Shreveport, Bossier, in the Twin Cities. Dude, I'm not a part of no damn Mardi Gras crew. I'm not a part of no goddamn Greek letter organization. I'm not a part of any Masonic group, but I navigate with all of them. I teach most of them. You see what I'm saying? I even when my cousin had this club and I was VIP, I rarely went because I'm just really a grassroots cat. I like playing domino. I don't go to no damn country club. I don't play golf. You know, I'm not gonna knock the cats who do it. That's not my thing, because I'm a grassroots cat. I'll pull up in the hood, get out and play some dominoes. I'll take a drink with you. You know, I'll drink socially with you, talk shit, and play domino, right? But that's me. But I'm a hybrid cat. But I still graduated from Xavier. I still worked in corporate America. You see, and I do the work. I do the work. I do the work. Most people operate like that.
I think Naru, it's definitely going to require a redefining of what we mean by life or living. The very first thing the second thing, because the first thing was the sermon. The second thing that blew me away about the shrine when I joined, I was accustomed to the church's leadership having all the nice stuff. I was absolutely blown away when I learned that the founder of this national organization lived in the same kind of apartment that everybody else lived in. I was blown away because there's a big old house across the street from the church, and I just knew that was his house, but no, he lived in an apartment like everybody else. Whenever we had assignments, the person who may have been a janitorial whomever was mopping the floor with someone who was a doctor. So the night that I got married, I had training center cleanup. So we had our party after the wedding. My wife went home because she was pregnant, and I went to Camp Training Center with my group. When we had the dining hall assignments, doctors, lawyers, lay people, teachers. So it's a redefining of what life is. So if we say life is not working 8-10 hours a day for somebody else, but we're working for the collective, and of course, because we live in the capitalist system, we got to have, you know, business structures and corporate entities and whatnot, but we don't have to have the same life definition or structure like other people have. If we say life is spending 5, 6, 7 hours doing whatever, then you hang out with the village or the family or whatever, then that's what it becomes. So I think it's definitely, you know, we're going to have to, amongst ourselves, we redefine what life is, and then we say, okay, well, this is what it's going to be because we're creating this new thing, and then we go from there.
I like that. I like that. I put in the chat the video I was talking about if anybody else wanted to see it as well. And thank you for answering in that question as well, Brother Tamani.
Cool. That was it? Naru, you good? Okay.
Yeah, that was it.
Cool. So does anyone else have a question or comment for Brother Craig before we close this thing out? Everybody good? Okay, Brother Craig, closing remarks?
I just want to thank everybody for attending as always. And March the 30th, baby, we launching the Craig B. Lee City Council campaign.
That's right.
And I selected March the 30th because that was the final ratification date of the damn 5th Amendment. And that ties into what? The whole voting process as to where we're at now. So that's why I selected that date. And so all of you guys will be integrated within this process. The good thing about Corona is it introduced us to Zoom.
That's right. That's right.
So we can be in all of these cities and having dialogue and conversations, and we're going to raise money. We're going to mobilize, organize. We're going to count roughly 8,000 votes, and we're going to turn out 90% of those people to the polls by way of absentee balloting, early voting, and for those who are consistent voters, that we can let them go on election day. But we're here to take over $1 billion, and we're here to now solidify the structure of what we need to do for Black empowerment in the city of Shreveport. Dr. Jones has already just made a phenomenal impact in the city. She's bringing her gangsterism to the city in a phenomenal way, and she has a great program project coming up in June that she will be telling you guys about in the coming weeks and whatnot. And we're just gonna take over the goddamn place. It's our time. It's gangster time. It's gangster time.
Amen. And on that note, we want to make sure that we are all taking notes so we can duplicate what Brother Craig is about to lay down in Shreveport, and we can duplicate that thing in multiple predominantly Black cities around the country. Well, of course, Shreveport is most certainly going to be the model by which we build this thing. So thank you, Craig, for that. Lastly, I want to share with everybody real quick that the whole point of what we should do with this show and every single thing else. All that toxic stuff that Brother Craig laid out, all of it is our reality. But of course, if we're going to push back against that, like he was saying, we got to have people in leadership positions who know what they're doing in all these different areas. We can't build this thing without people who know what they're doing. So what we're doing in June of this year, we're having a national leadership election to find people like Brother Craig who have expertise in areas that we need to push back against all this toxic energy. If we don't have people that have the expertise and the understanding and the training, and probably most importantly, the undying love and commitment to Black people to push back, it's simply not going to work. We absolutely must create these, what, Brother, could you say Ujima villages or Ujima villages? Ujima?
Yeah, Ujima.
Ujima, yeah. So if we don't create communities by which we can control the space inside a municipality by which we have political power, if we don't control it politically, then they will build a freeway through it. They'll gentrify it. They'll do what they've always done. But if we have a righteous leadership team that understands how all this stuff works, that is willing to put their expertise and their time and their energy up for a cause that's about building power for Black people, then there's absolutely nothing that we can't accomplish. That's one of the reasons why it's so important that we all, like Brother Craig just said, we all put in to help him get elected, because Shreveport can be a model for what we can do in other spaces. But of course, we got to get that first model up and running. So if you have expertise in any of those areas or any area, and you want to help lead Black people, then check out our website, blackonation.com, or if you know someone who does, send them to the website and they can nominate themselves, or you can nominate somebody, then we can go from there. But the bottom line is that as awesome as we all know Brother Craig is, he's one brother. It would be unfair for us to put everything on him. And like he says, you know, Jesus need a break. Well, hell, pretty soon he gonna need a break because he's been doing this for a minute. Earn his retirement. He's gonna retire in about 6-7 years.
Oh, partner, I'm in this till I die.
Till you die. Wait a minute, I'll take it, brother. That's usually how revolutionaries roll. So
about having the convention in June, hey, after all the elections are done, still got July, August, September, October, 4 months for the new folks, all of the folks to be involved in the gangster campaign.
Yes, sir.
History.
I can
and
dig
when
it.
And when we lock this thing down on November the 8th, ooh,
It's on. Okay, but
the grassroots revolutionary elected baller.
Brother Mike, you unmuted your phone for a second. Did you have something you wanted to add before we close this thing out, or was that an accident?
No, not at all. No, great dialogue, man.
Cool.
As usual.
Yeah, we try, brother. We try. All right. So on that note, thank you guys for being a part. We always appreciate it. Thank you, Brother Craig, for doing your thing. Absolutely phenomenal the way you do it. And always remember two things. No one can do everything, but if everyone does something, everything will get done. And lastly, nothing is more sacred than the empowerment, freedom, liberation, and salvation of Black people. Because if Black people don't make it, you're not going to make it because you're Black. So God bless y'all. Take care. We'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.
Peace.